Okay. So we'll see how long this live cast lasts. Yeah, we've got Hurricane Ian raging outside my backyard right now. I'm looking at all the gusts and the gales and the squalls. And this poor little lizard hanging on to my window for dear life. Poor little thing. So we'll see how long we can keep this up and keep this live stream going. Miraculously, we still have power and light, thank goodness. And we are very fortunate because I know many of my friends right now do not have power. And obviously all the folks down south and on the west coast of Florida are getting hit pretty hard. So hoping everybody there is staying safe and hopefully they've evacuated. That's the most important thing. But we're going to go ahead and try to do a live show tonight for however long Hurricane Ian graces me with internet and Wi-Fi. Hey, Kay. Yeah, we're doing good. Thankfully, although we're only about 20 miles from the coast, thankfully we're not in a flood zone where I live, and we're doing okay, and the whole family is together, and that's what's important. So guys, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to jump on board. I know so many of you have been checking in with me today, and I appreciate that so very much. So thank you guys again for the messages and the texts and the prayers. Really appreciate that. For those of you watching the replay, go ahead and any questions that you might have, go ahead and put it into the comment section, or if you can just say replay in the comment section. I always like to go back and see who's been watching the replay, and it helps me kind of keep up with everybody. We got Megan on board. Hey there, Megan. Megan, you're going to be seeing some action pretty soon too, I think. Hey, Steven, roll tide, buddy, roll tide. I got the roll tide colors on this tonight. I've got some maroon on here for you tonight. All right, guys, a couple more seconds. Ooh, we got Robin on board. I still have power, Kristen. I know. Here's the kicker, right? Those of you who've been with me for a while, y'all know I have gremlins living in my computer that love to play tricks on me when I'm on live. So go figure. In the middle of a hurricane, now's when I'm getting a good connection. Really? All right, Robin. Yep, we're still here, Robin. We got Liz on board from California. We got Benny listening to me from my YouTube channel. So guys, just so you know, if you have trouble finding me on Facebook, you can go to Cosi Talks on YouTube, and I stream there at the same time as well. That's right, Mark S. Hurricane Ian's got nothing on me, man. We need Jim Cantore here. That's my special guest that I need to have for this evening. Is Jim Cantore on my live show? Wouldn't that be fun? Hey, Lori. Yes, we're doing fine. Thank goodness. Hey, Bonnie. Good to see you. All right, guys. So it was interesting because today, this is the first time I've been home in a really long time. Figures it takes a hurricane to make me stay put, right? So I was able to catch up on a lot of emails. And one of my emails that I was emailing back and forth was a viewer whose father is facing an amputation. And it was a really great conversation I had with this particular viewer in trying to kind of guide her with certain questions that she should be asking the surgeon. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. You're not getting sound. Uh-oh. Let's see. Andrea, I don't know if you're the only one not getting sound. Hey, Dick Devers. Gustavo, ¿cómo estás? Mira, estamos en el medio de huracán. Yo estoy en Tampa, así que el huracán está aquí en estos momentos, pero por el momento aún tengo electricidad, gracias a Dios. We got Johnny V from Poughkeepsie, New York in the Cosi Talks house. There's my Johnny V. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. You have sound. Okay, good. So Kay has sound. Andrea, I think it's something on your end. Andrea, are you getting anything up there over in Gainesville? All right, guys. So for those of you watching me for the first time, welcome. You're getting quite the introduction to the Cosi Talks live show in the middle of a hurricane. My name is Cosi Belloso. I'm a physical therapist, amputee specialist here in Tampa, Florida. I usually say it's hot, sticky Tampa, Florida, but now it's very, very wet and windy Tampa, Florida. So once again, guys, those of you who've been checking in with me all day today, I really appreciate all the messages that you've been sending. We're doing good. Thank goodness. Still have power. Let's see how long that lasts. If you see me go black screen, then you'll know what happened there. All right. Nothing to write home about. Okay, well, I'm glad, Andrea, because it's a lot of rain, a lot of water we're getting here. So let me go back. So guys, obviously I didn't prepare anything for tonight. So start putting questions into the comment section. Give me something to talk about for as long as my electricity lasts. In the meantime, there was this one viewer who wrote to me, and she said, her father is facing an amputation. He has osteomyelitis, which is an infection of the bone that has gone into the bone, very serious. And they have not been able to clear it up. And at this point, he is facing amputation. Now, the infection is down in the foot, in the Achilles tendon and in the heel. So it's in the lower part of the foot, right? And apparently the surgeons are saying he's going to need an above the knee amputation. Okay, so this particular individual emailed me and said she was concerned. She said, I understand the basics that it's easier to walk as a below the knee amputee compared to being an above the knee amputee. What should I do? So obviously I was like, well, I don't know this gentleman's case very well. So I, had to get a little bit more information. And as we're getting more information, realize it's a very patient who has a lot of other medical issues, right? And is not in doing the best with regards to his mobility right now. So the surgeon's thought process is, if this gentleman gets a below the knee amputation, then he's not going to heal well from it. He's going to get a knee contracture and he's going to end up with an above the knee amputation. So let's just go with that to begin with. So it's a pretty sticky situation. And, I am not a doctor. I am not a surgeon. I will be the first one to say that I am a physical therapist. As PTs, do we have professional knowledge and can we give our professional opinions on this? Yes, but ultimately it's a conversation between the patient and the surgeon and the patient's family in this case. So for me, it was more about giving this particular individual questions that she should be asking the surgeon and services that she should be looking at and other factors that she should be considering. Okay. So first of all, my first question was, what is the goal of her father after this amputation? Is he expecting to be able to be a functional ambulator, meaning that he uses walking as his primary mode of transportation versus being in a wheelchair? Okay. Is he someone who is only going to be using a prosthesis? That's another question right there. Or is this someone who's going to be using a wheelchair for the primary mode of transportation, or perhaps just a walker for moving around from one place to the other? Okay, so these are some of the questions that I started asking her to try to get some more information. So it kept coming back to knee contracture. And I said, well, here's the thing to consider. As a below the knee amputee, yes, the risk for knee flexion contracture is very high. And that's one of those things that we hammer into patients from day one. But as an above the knee, the risk for hip flexion contracture is also very high, right? So from a rehab standpoint, you've got to battle both things right there. Okay. My concern with this particular individual, and I just said, look, continue to present this information and questions to your surgeon. Okay, number one, is there enough healthy tissue to keep this gentleman as a below the knee amputee? As we know, with the goal of amputations, the surgeon has to go in and they have to remove all of the necrotic, all of the dead tissue. And they also have to get to a point where there is good quality circulation, right? If you remove all the dead tissue, but the circulation is not doing great, then that tissue will continue to die, right? So the surgeon's got to, it's a tricky little play there, right? So that's the question that they need to ask is it going to be medically possible to do a below the knee amputation? Okay. If it's down by the heel, again, I haven't seen this guy's angiograms or anything like that, but you kind of hope that there would be hope for a below the knee amputation. Okay. And then the second thing is what is the plan after the person's amputation? Do they have access to resources for inpatient rehab? Okay, that's a very important step after any surgery, any major surgery, but certainly after amputation. You have to have that team support. Regardless of whether he's a below the knee or an above the knee amputee, he's going to need inpatient rehab, right? Or a lot of therapy to get going after this process, right? The other thing I said is, has a physical therapist stepped in to do an evaluation? Because again, me behind the computer screen, it's kind of hard for me to see where this man can go. Okay. And one thing I tell a lot of my patients is when they ask me about their goals, about how far they'll be able to get with their mobility, I take a look at what they were doing prior to amputation.